Welcome to Trade of the Week with me, Zinati Guma. In this week's analysis, Blu Label Telecoms, MTN Group and Telkom are in the spotlight. And joining us with her survey of these counters is Moxima Gama, Senior Technical Analyst at the Money Hub. Thank you so much for your time, Moxima. Very, very interesting sector. Is telecoms the place to be in right now? Still is.
Since the last time I told you.
Yes, because we've touched on it before.
We've touched, I've got the dates just to.
Okay, you've got the evidence. You've told us.
Yes.
Okay.
And I said, listen, if you don't, you're going to see the don't part. If you didn't.
And now you're telling us again.
Yeah, like you should have.
So meaning there's just a continuation of the bullishness.
There is, and the reason why I wanted to recap on it is because they pretty much corrected to what I expected, similar to how we did the whole Implats, the Impala.
Yes.
So there was that correction, and now the correction is pretty much on, is it a good time to start reloading or get on if you missed the boat, or is there further downside? So I'm just trying to recap on that to give you another opportunity to get in.
Let's start off with Blu Label, because I remember there was a sharp fall, I think 2 weeks ago. And I was like, is this a correction?
It was pretty much.
Or a turn of the trend.
So technically you'll see the reason why there is a correction, which I'll show you now. But just touching on Blu Label as well, they still have this little sticky thing with Cell C.
Yes.
And the reason why they actually went up as much as they did is because it was an accounting adjustment of the loss, which then made them have a 262 profit from that. So obviously that's enticing to investors. But then when they did the accounting now, they didn't really lose much. I think it was just 6% loss, but it was a, was that just an accounting adjustment, or are you guys really doing well?
Actually, yeah.
It seems as if the momentum is likely to still go up because they are handling the whole not getting rid of, they want to relist Cell C, which means if you are in the share, you'll be able to at least get a share split. Now that you'll have Blu and Cell C, which is not too bad. But I think another thing that investors were a bit grumpy about is there were no dividends offered.
Okay.
So they were like,
after all of this.
Yeah, but I still think it's a very good long-term investment. The entire mobile, telemobile sector,
Yeah, it's quite interesting that you mentioned the accounting movements there, because a lot of us were looking at those results thinking, what?
I mean, that was massive, right? 200. I was like, okay, technically it makes sense what's going on, but this is just drove that upside. And I'll show you now. I mean, if we delve into it. So the last time we spoke about it was in February, around this particular point in time. And the motivation behind that was the fact that it actually breached. I've always kind of mentioned to you that if it's in a bull channel and an upper slope gets breached, the trend becomes steeper, which is literally what happened there. The trend became steeper, giving us that amount. So from that point in time from February to then, it went up by 216%. Wow. Did you get in? Don't worry. I got you.
All is not lost.
All's not lost. All's not lost, particularly for this downside that we experienced. And technically speaking, without putting any fundamentals into it, I mean, Blu Label had been overbought for almost 6 months. I mean, not like less than 6 months. So, which prevented a lot of us who really who think this overbought oversold is really Bible to us, it was difficult for us to get in, not knowing where it's going to pull back. And the pullback that it's had is certainly not surprising, because it had been overbought for so long. But I think it also came with the results of the marginal loss. So we saw that pullback, which is about 35%. It's trying to at least reclaim those losses. But we're in because it was also oversold, but we're very peculiar point, because do you reload at this point, or is it going to pull back even further? So the important thing that I'm watching at this point is the weekly chart on the RSI, is that if this RSI returns back into this bullish area, that means that the sentiment is now
coming back,
has been kick-started again, and we could then see further upside. Now, the level in which I would recommend that would give us a good buying opportunity is the 14 Rand mark.
All right.
So the 14 Rand will then be able to tell us that RSI has also gotten back into the bullish area. Hence, then it could kickstart that momentum to 1780, where you can reload. And that could then take it to its all-time high at 22 Rand.
Interesting, because that 14 Rand level, we are right now below that 14 Rand level. So you're saying as much as it's down, it may not be a good time, because it actually might go down even further. So to ensure that you catch
But you're getting it at the
wave
right
up.
time.
Yes,
That's the part.
okay.
Because I mean, at this point, it has gone up quite. I mean, it has recovered some of its losses. But for me, it's the RSI. It has to get back into the bullish area. Because another thing is, if that's the alternative scenario that comes in, that if that 14 mark is not breached and the RSI kind of reverses below this dotted, red dotted, then it means the downside's still not done.
Right.
Which means we could then see it pull back to about 11 again. No, it hasn't tested 11, did it? No, it almost did.
Yeah.
And in this case, it may even go down to 965, which means if you get in now, there might be a pull. So rather wait if there isn't a pullback, because it will give you that opportunity to get in cheaper. But if this is it with the downside, then 14 Rand above is the level that I would say you get in. And with that, you could still make a good 60% move. Additional to, if so for people who are in, they could restock or reload at 14, and the ones that missed the bandwagon could still get in. I still do believe it may even exceed its all-time high at this point because of the momentum. But yeah, let's see. When they relist and all of that, that might cause a bit of jitterness. But I'm still quite optimistic and bullish on it.
Technical analysis is very interesting because a lot of the time people think that the cheapest entry point is the best, but that could mean that you're potentially catching a falling knife.
A knife, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that phrase. Yes,
Yeah.
potentially. And then you're like, oh, but why? I think this was, this was going up. But it's in the charts, particularly with that RSI, it's quite important. For me, I'd never take that chance.
You're a firm believer.
I'm a firm believer of that, but I'm also quite pleased that it came off from that overbought position, because it was a bit relentless and a bit unrealistic. You guys, it's time to pull back.
Too much.
But it didn't. And now that it has, we just need to at least trade above 14, honestly. From next week, if it's 14 above 14.50, feel free. Otherwise, if it doesn't, then just
all right. So we're keeping a very close eye on it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into MTN. That has been a topic of a lot of discussions with Bloomberg article, and we're still not sure how true that article is or how well researched it was. Of course, we had the article saying that MTN is looking at making a bid for Telkom again, but then Ralph Mupita saying no, we're not in any active talks. But
you're pointing each other.
Yeah,
I don't think it would be the first time. I think previously. I don't know if it. I think they just probably rehashing those. I'm not too sure about that.
And Ralph has been saying there needs to be a lot of consolidation. Well, there does need to be consolidation in the space. But I mean, I guess we'll maybe touch on that again when we look at Telkom. But just looking at MTN, the technicals, we know that the fundamentals have been really good, except maybe for in South Africa. But how's that technical picture looking?
I mean, it's at least now the fundamentals are turning. I mean, MTN had been dragged since that Nigeria thing. Everyone was like, let me stay out. And it pulled back quite. From 2015, it was just on a slide downwards.
Yeah.
So seeing it, which was the motivation of me saying, let's get in, which was around the same time, in February, around the 11th, 10th. And the reason why at this point, it's pretty clear it's broken out of the bear trend. You know me, how I like getting them when it's fresh. And the time when I recommended was that it was around 109.45. And the reason being is it was a very key support becoming resistance level.
All right.
We've seen it then push its way up to almost 176.40, which gave us a nice 59% gain.
Wow, nice.
Nice one. And again, pulling back from that overbought. But this pullback could be slightly exaggerated based on what the information.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's completely turning bearish. It is a pullback that is justified because it was overbought. Also in very volatile terrain at this point. Will the downside continue, or is it going to start going upwards? Now, I've got a level for that, as usual, is that if it holds above at least this blue trend line, which is the one that's been holding the uptrend this whole time. So that's the key trend line you need to keep an eye on. And it starts trading above 148.75. That would then be a sign that it's done with this correction, RSI bouncing on its long-term bull trend, and that could then propel it towards 178.40 again, or to this, I'm not sure if you could see it, but it's very faint. It's a very key trend line that's dated back to 2015. Now, if it breaches that 2015 trend mark, it means an absolute change from years of pessimism into optimism. And MTN
would that be an all-time high?
Yeah, no, all-time high is it's at 260 something, close to. So the upside potential is huge. And this pullback has given us an opportunity to reload or get back if you weren't in. particularly because, as I said, it's 270 and it's only now trading at 239. So for 148.75 is the key mark that you need to keep an eye on, because if it doesn't trade above there, then don't try and get in, because then the pullback, you know.
Yes.
So this is pointing out this trend line dated back to 2015. Once that level is breached, particularly the 199.30 mark, then we could see it at least go to its all-time high. At first, you know, 211.50, but that could then, it could do that natural progression to its all-time high, you know, completing that 100% retracement. The alternative scenario is that if it doesn't trade above 148.75, that should just be your key mark. If it doesn't, then just like stay out.
Leave it, okay.
Because it could then pull back to the lower slope again, which is around 132, 127.35.
Yes.
Right? Sorry. Yeah, 127.35.
Yeah,
Meaning you can get it cheaper. Okay. Right? It's not saying get out, don't forget about it. It's just you can get it cheaper than 148 if it doesn't trade above 148. But if it does breach the 127.35 mark, then unfortunately, and that trend line, it would mean there's a change in sentiment. Like a complete change in character and all of that, and we could then see potential downside. But all I'm saying is if it's not trading above 148.75, just wait.
Yeah.
But if it does, it could go to 127. If it breaches 127, it means just like stay out.
MTN is so volatile. Is it a trader's dream or nightmare?
This has actually just become, this has been really, it's been a joy being invested in MTN at this point. To say you never anticipated downside would be really not that good, but at least, yeah, it's just how far will this downside go? That's one thing we have to keep an eye on.
Okay, no shame. I know with long-term investors, they get very nervous.
They do. I know, I've had times, what's happening? I'm like, just chill. It's doing a correction, what we need to keep an eye on now. So at this point, I'm saying we're on tenterhooks, but there is an opportunity to get back in at 147.85. So in that case, it would be getting at 147 with, at least, it needs to go to 199.30, which is a 34% rise. Above there, you would increase with the upside potential to 270.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice. All right, let's scoot on over to Telkom, where we haven't just had the fundamentals driving the share price, but also this kind of potential corporate action, which is not a thing at this point.
It seems the investors are like, okay, all right, do what you have to do, because this pullback is certainly not as much as what MTN and Blu has gone through. So it is a natural pullback from that overbought territory. So that's the time we excuse me, spoke about it. And our entry level there was at 39.65, also a key, it was key support becoming resistance. It breached the upper slope. You remember upper slope, steeper uptrend. Gone up by 51%. But now overbought RSI, extremely overbought. I think it was overbought for 3 months in this case. And for it to just pull back marginally like that is quite impressive, because it would have plonked.
Oh, so you were nervous that it might...
Yeah, it might just plonk. But what I'm a bit concerned about is that the fact is that it's just muttering on that RSI trend line, which makes me feel that it may pull back a bit further. But if it doesn't, and it kind of bounces or breaks out of this channel, the buying level would be at 55.10. Excuse me, at 55.10, it would end what is seen as a flag pattern, and it's a bullish continuation pattern.
Okay.
And that's when we could see, I mean, there's a lot of upside to $100.
I can see.
To a natural progression there, but, you know, it's at least corrected from this overbought territory. Now, the alternative scenario, honestly, is that if it starts trading below 44.90, it means just like cool off. Don't get in. It may pull back to about to the lower slope or to 35.45.
Yeah, no, and that's...
And yeah, you'd be getting in at the wrong time. You're going to experience a loss before potential upside. It's not their deal. If it trades below 35.45, forget it. Then it's a change in character completely. So this is how it would look, is wait for the 55.10 mark. Can I just mention that if it does pull back to about 44.90, any level above 44.90, 50, 70, those make buying opportunities.
Okay.
But for now, 55.10 is the one that will stand out if we have a bullish reversal at this point.
Okay.
So anything above 50.70 or 44.90 is a buying opportunity.
Okay. Yeah. Then you're good. But yeah, below that, just leave it.
Yeah, below 44.90, leave it. And that would give you a nice, to just 83, gives you 51%. That's not a bad return. I mean,
not at all.
I mean, these shares, it's not like it's been a long-term investment. This is just a few months that it's done something like 51, 200 and...
Wow.
See, that whole long-term investment, just stay in the share
Yeah.
for as long as there's an upside.
Okay.
Don't be there for the long term.
Not too long, not
too
forever,
long. Be
as
able to
long
get
as-
out, yeah. For as long as
Okay.
upside.
You need to have conditions and this is what the
Yeah.
technical analysis is showing us.
So that's the summary of everything. So that's what I'm waiting for, because I am waiting to reload.
Yeah.
I would-
Okay, your
yeah.
money's ready.
It's ready. It's been sitting for this pullback, and I'm just like, get in and get another 50 or 35 or 60% gain from that.
Okay.
You know.
Instead of buying airtime, buy
But you,
So
I love that
fantastic.
one.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Moxima, for your time.
you.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And that was Senior Technical Analyst at the Money Hub, Moxima Gama. And that's all for this week's technical segment, but stay tuned for lots more coming up right here on Business Day TV.